Hello students, how are you? Welcome to our new class of software engineering. In this class, we'll discuss about the project scheduling. What is scheduling? We have already discussed about this term in your previous topics, previous subjects, previous year also. Scheduling means arranging the processes, how it will be executed, the order in which it will be executed. Similarly, the project scheduling requires different project development tasks to be ordered properly. So how this ordering will be done in a perfect manner, we can learn from project scheduling. Scheduling the project task involves deciding which task would be taken up when. The process contains different methods, different activities, different executable elements to be performed, and how those processes or tasks will be ordered properly, executed properly, one after another in a proper manner, we can schedule them. Got it? And the software project manager needs to perform the following activities in identifying the processes or sub-processes and then arrange them in a proper order and execute them in an efficient scheduled manner. Got it? And in project scheduling, you have to perform this set of activities one after another. In the first activity, you have to identify all the tasks needed to complete the project. Previously, we have discussed when a project is a larger one, the project is divided into modules and each and every module is further divided into sub-modules and executed in a proper manner. Whichever sub-processes are available, those sub-processes will be executed fast. Then after the sub-processes are over, then those will be integrated together and combinedly tested their effort. Got it? So here we have to identify the tasks at first. The complete project is analyzed and identified its process tasks. Got it? Then second operation is your break down large tasks into small activities. At first the main modules are identified. Then those main modules are divided into small activities, smaller parts, so that they can be easily converted into a proper solution. The smaller activities are identified. Now, in the third part, determine the dependency among different activities. The smaller activities are identified. The smaller activities should possess a good result so that it can be beneficial for the project activity. So how the smaller projects, smaller tasks, smaller parts or smaller modules are identified is executed properly and providing the proper result is determined, then we have to collect the dependency among those small activities. When the combined effort of the smaller activities are identified and tested properly, then only this can be a efficient method of being utilized in the large project. So the dependency among the activities are identified. In next process, establish the most likely estimates for the time duration necessary to complete the activities. Each and every small part has its own set of operations, its own set of time requirements, its own set of resource requirements. So we have to estimate all those, because in the planning, the estimation is the major effort. If the estimation is perfectly done, then only your system development process will be performed efficiently. Got it? And here, most likely estimates for the time duration of each and every smaller activity as well as the combined activities are identified. Got it? After the fourth process of time duration estimation is over, in the fifth part, it identifies the resources required for the activities to be performed. Allocate the resources to the activities so that they can be executed their operations very well. Without utilizing right set of resources, none of the module is going to provide the good result. Got it? Next, plan the starting and ending dates for various activities. The main module is divided into sub-modules, sub-parts or sub-activities, and each and every sub-activity's role should be started from a particular time period and should be ended at a particular time period. In this sixth stage, the planning of identifying starting and ending dates are performed. Got it? Now, determine the critical path. In the seventh step, we have to determine the critical path. What is the critical path mean? We'll discuss in this same unit. What is critical path? Critical path is the major path that is identified from the starting of the process execution to the ending of the process. But different sub-processes are being executed. Which sub-processes after another are to be executed are also identified here in the project scheduling part. And your critical path determines what is the maximum time requirement from starting of the process execution to end of the process execution. Got it? So after determining the critical path, you can be sure that what will be the total time requirement for developing the product. Got it? So now how these tasks are being executed, we'll discuss in the subsequent part. And all these project scheduling activities are performed by dividing the whole set of activities into 4 operations. And those 4 scheduling operations we have to know in detail. Okay, what are those 4 scheduling operations? Work breakdown structure preparation. In order to perform the scheduling properly, you have to follow these activities in which you have to at first perform the WBS, work breakdown structure. Then in the second part, prepare the activity network and identify the critical path. So applying the critical path method is used here. In the third part, preparing the Gantt chart. The Gantt chart contains the jobs to be executed in which manner and how it requires the resources to be utilized and what time it requires to use. Okay, and in the fourth part, we have to determine the PERT, P-E-R-T, PERT, project evaluation and review technique, PERT chart preparation. So these are the 4 major activities those you have to perform in order to perform the scheduling very well. And your scheduling is determined in order to converting the whole task into a proper system can be planned very well. The planning of scheduling of activities are done in project scheduling. So now we'll go to the first part for execution. In the first part, what we have discussed? First part, we have to determine the work breakdown structure, WBS. The work breakdown structure is used to decompose the given task set recursively into small activities. The whole system is divided into small activities recursively. The main module is divided into sub-modules. Again, the sub-modules are further divided into sub-modules. So in this regard, recursively the small activities are identified. And when your total sub-activities are became identified, then those can be further executed. Got it? So in the WBS, you can identify the small activities those are to be performed. And the WBS provides the notation for representing the major tasks needed to be carried out in order to solve a particular problem. So if a task exists, then it should have a solution. And what is the task it is going to perform and what is the solution going to be arrived can be identified here. Got it? And the root of a tree is labeled by the problem name. Which problem is identified at the beginning, then what are the subsequent sub-problems, those are consecutively identified. And in the root part, the main module is labeled. Then in subsequent parts, its sub-modules are placed. And each node of the tree is broken down into smaller activities. The root contains the main problem. Then the subsequent nodes, subsequent children nodes have the broken down smaller activities. Got it? Then each activity is recursively decomposed into smaller sub-activities until at the leaf level, the activities requires approximately 2 weeks to develop. Minimum of 2 weeks, the sub-activities will require to develop. Okay, if more than that time period is also required, then also we can allocate. But the subsequent, the sub-activities should be decomposed in such a manner that it will be executed within very short time period. Got it? So when the small module provides a solution for a particular problem, then gradually we can reach at many solutions. And all those solutions can be combinedly provide the product to be executed very well. Got it? So how the product is decomposed into main module and sub modules, we can identify by looking at a case study made on MIS, Management Information System. Got it? Let us take one example of Management Information System, regarding which we have previously discussed in our cost estimation part. In the Management Information System, you have several parts of activities to be executed, identified at the beginning. According to the main modules, the sub-modules are identified. And the sub-modules are going to perform smaller set of tasks to be executed. And how those smaller set of tasks are identified? Look at in this diagram. At first, your root contains the whole system. Then the subsequent children nodes contains its subtasks. The subtasks can be categorized into requirement specification, designing, coding, testing, documentation part. Got it? These are the submodules. And again, the submodules are further decomposed into smaller tasks. Like your requirement specification does not require any smaller tasks to be executed. So it is left as it is. But your designing has different other parts to be operated, like creating a graphical user interface and providing a database support. So for those purpose, the designing is divided into database designing part and graphical user interface designing part. Got it? Then coding again requires the similar set of activities, because when the designing is done, it will be leading to the coding activity. And the coding also depends upon the type of designing made. So what are the design activities? Accordingly, the coding will be performed. So the coding is further decomposed into the parts like your database coding part and graphical user interface coding part. Got it? So now the next part is your testing. The testing has its own set of activities, and those activities are all combined together. They will be performed in a concurrent manner. So those cannot be divided into subparts. So testing and documentation. The documentation starts from the beginning of the product development to end of the product development. So here no task dividing requirement is there. So in this order, we can divide the whole task into subtasks. Got it? And this subtask will provide you the complete WBS chart, work breakdown structure chart. Okay, how the works are divided into subtasks we can watch here. Come to the next point, that is your activity network and critical path method. In activity network preparation, you need the informations represented in the WBS. The WBS representation of a project is transformed into the activity network by representing the activities identified there along with their interdependencies. Got it? When the work breakdown structure is prepared, it identifies the tasks to be executed one after another, and how the tasks to be executed one after another we can watch in the activity network. Got it? The WBS only contains the activities those to be performed, but the activity network contains the order in which all those activities are to be executed and what are the interdependencies among all those sub activities. Got it? And when will not, if you'll not go for identifying this, then it may cause some other problems. The planning will not be perfect. The activity network shows the different activities making up a project, their estimated duration, and interdependencies. When a particular job is executed, a certain time period is required, or we have discussed previously, and the task have certain interdependencies among both. One module depends the role of other module. One module's execution provides certain result, then that result will be operated in the next subsequent task. After collecting the solutions of different tasks, those can be utilized for performing the root level task role. So in this regard, the identification of required estimations and identifications of the relationships between all those and how the jobs will be properly executed in a proper manner, all those can be identified in the activity network. Got it? And the activity network is represented by a rectangular node and the duration of the activity, okay, along with the each task. When the jobs are scheduled in a proper manner, tasks are scheduled in a proper manner, how those can be represented? The rectangular node shows the activity to be performed, and it also contains the time duration required for it. Got it? And each and every task can be connected together with some flow lines. Those flow lines will provide the information regarding which job is executed after another and which task requires the support of other tasks to be executed, which task is independently executed. These dependencies are shown in the activity network. Got it? And when your activity network is prepared, at last it provides the critical path solution. From the starting of the project duration to the ending of the project duration, which jobs are strictly executed one after another are identified, and that path is considered as the critical path. Got it? And the critical path you can say is the path from the start node to the finish node. Starting node to the finishing node. Whichever jobs are must executed in a critical manner are summed together and provides the critical path result. Got it? The path that equals the maximum time required from the starting node's execution to the ending node's execution is calculated as your critical path value. Got it? And this is the activity network representation of MIS problem. MIS problem we have discussed, and how that MIS problem can be converted into activity network we must have to watch. So let us see. The specification contains the job. After the specification is over, the next set of activity to be performed is database design. Along with that, we have to do the GUI design. Along with that, the documentation writing is also prepared. So these are the three parallel activities, those are to be executed. You can say the database part being executed is, and the database part executed provides the result, is ultimately providing the coding to be done for it. And whenever a particular database is designed, that will ultimately lead to the coding requirement. When the GUI is prepared only, we can create the database regarding it. Got it? When the database part designing is performed, at the same time the GUI designing is performed. At the same moment, whichever activities are being executed are noted down in the user manual. And when your user manual writing is prepared, it leads to the whole system plan to be prepared. Which jobs are executed in what manner and what are its subsequent requirements are noted in the user manual writing. Got it? And the database designing part leads to the code database part, and the GUI design leads to the code GUI part. Then after performing both of the activities, it will lead to the integration of the jobs together and perform the testing. After the integration is over, we can go for the system testing activity. Got it? These are commonly called as your integrate and test. And then it will lead to the finished state. After the testing is over, it is being implemented for the operation. So till then, your activity network is being executed in a proper order. And when your jobs are executed in this manner, what much of time required or the estimated time duration for each and every activity are mentioned in the activity network. And your activity network's first job specification requires, suppose, 15 days to be used. So it is mentioned here. The estimation is done basing upon the requirements to be performed regarding the product's development. And when your specification is performed, the specification requires 15 days to collect the information from the customers or the set of customers. So after the specification is over, it will lead to the next set of activities. Then the database design part is being used. The database design part requires 45 days, suppose. So the database design will require these 45 days. At the same time, the GUI design can be performed within 30 days. Simultaneously, both of the activities can be performed. So you can start, you can provide the database design part the next 45 days to use, and the GUI design part to be using 60 days of time. Got it? Then after the database design is over, coding database is based upon the design informations. So whichever design solutions are made, accordingly the coding is performed. So when the designing part is over, its output will be going used in the coding of the database. Got it? So similarly, when the designing part is over for GUI, then the GUI coding starts using proper programming languages. Got it? And the database design part will be also converted into the coding database using the respective sorter packages, database packages. Got it? Now, integration and testing is performed. The codes identified from the database part and the GUI part are integrated together to identify their results. The integration of the submodules are performed here and combinedly tested for its result. Got it? At the same moment, the user manual writing or document writing operations are being performed. Got it? So identification of the task and their time estimations are represented in the activity network. Then your critical path will ultimately help to identify the starting node to ending nodes execution in which manner. You can go for watching it. The specification requires 15 days time. Then database designing part requires 45 days time. Then coding of the database part requires 105 days to use. And in the same moment, the GUI designing requires 30 days of time, and the coding of GUI requires 45 days of time. And after these codings are over, then only we can go for integration testing. So the time required for 45 days and time required for 105 days cannot be minimized to cover a critical path. And until your GUI designing and coding is over, still your time had to utilize to integrate the coding informations together and test it combinedly. It may happen that when you're designing of GUI over, coding of GUI over, you have to wait till the integration of jobs starts. Okay, so in this manner, the critical path requires 15 days plus 45 days plus 105 days plus 120 days to be utilized for determining the critical path. So the critical path value will be 45 plus 15 plus 105 plus 120. Got it? The total of 285 days you can go for identifying the critical path value. Got it? Next, come to the next part, that is your preparation of GNAT chart. GNAT charts are mainly used to allocate resources to activities. It is used in the software project management operations to allocate the resources to activities and how those resources will be well utilized. So if we will not prepare the GNAT chart, the time allocation, resource allocation, the job's real requirement, we cannot plan. So the GNAT chart provides that benefit to you. And it is a special type of bar chart in which your bars are drawn along with a timeline. The bar chart contains a timeline, and the timeline identifies which job to be started at what time and how much time duration it is going to use. Got it? And along with the timeline, we can watch the subsequent jobs order one after another. And when a job is executed, it is divided into two parts, the shaded part and white part. The shaded part contains the total job's execution time period. Got it? And the white part identifies the slack time period, or the time period being wasted for waiting the next set of job to be started. Got it? It is divided into two parts, one white part and one shaded part. The shaded part is the process execution time part. The white part is the waiting part, slack time, that is. When the execution is over and next set of job is to be started, the time duration being used for waiting till the next job to start can be mentioned in a white part. Got it? And the length of each bar is proportional to the duration of the time planned for the corresponding activity. The shaded part contains the total time requirement for developing the particular activity or task. When the time duration required, resource required for allocating the executable part can be shown in the shaded area. Got it? Look at the diagram. This is the GNAT chart diagram of MIS system. Whichever jobs are to be executed one after another, we have already identified in the activity network. The activities to be processed in the for MIS are your specification, database design, GUI design, coding database, coding GUI, integration, and user manual writing. And all those activities are only to be specified in the Gantt chart. And the Gantt chart contains the timelines. The first line, second line, third, four, five, six horizontal lines are your, vertical lines are your timelines. Got it? And your vertical line shows which job starts at what time. And another vertical line shows which job, the job will be requiring how many time to be executed at the point from which the next set of job to be started. Similarly, you can watch the next subsequent timelines. January 1, suppose the project development starts. If the project development starts in January 1 and your specification requires 15 days of time to use, then it will move up to January 15. Got it? So the 15 days time period is allocated for the specification job. After the January 15, the next job will be started. At that time, the database designing activity and the GUI design activity will start. And then after 30 days, the designing GUI being completed. But your designing database requires more 15 days of time to be executed. So the database design part is specified in the shaded part, and GUI design have a executable area as the shaded part and the white part as the slack time, where the GUI design have to wait till the next job is being started to be specified as completed properly. But as per your multitasking facility, your design GUI may be started, the design GUI may be provided for coding GUI. Got it? When the GUI designing is over, the coders can start their activities. But the slack time is there till which the job's completion is not shown. Got it? Then your code database part. When your design database over, the next timeline for March 1 specifies the job to be started for code database. Got it? That code database lasts long for 105 days. So it will carry 105 days to use. The next timeline starts from June 15 to October 15 for performing the integration and testing activities. Got it? The integration and testing requires 120 days to use. So the 120 days, January 15 to October 15, June 15 to October 15, it will utilize for integrating the subtask and test them, then perform the system testing activity. Got it? And when your jobs are being executed, the user manual writing is performed, or the document writing operation is performed along with that. Got it? This is the Gantt chart that shows the job execution time period to provide, and the shaded part also contains the critical time required for being executed for each and every task, and the resources required for being utilized in case of each task execution. Understood? Next, part chart. Your part is project or program evaluation and review technique. Your Gantt chart contains the jobs to be executed one after another. Part chart specify activity network specified the activities to be executed, and the activity requires what much of estimated time requirement. but your part is being utilized for performing a statistical variation and identify the project estimates in a more approximated manner. The PERT chart performs evaluations on the time estimations, resource estimations on each task, and what may be the optimistic or likely or pessimistic time requirements. But if you'll say exactly 15 days will be required for the specification, it may not be completely right. So your specification may require more 5 days to use or may complete before 5 days. So how that can be specified? To specify that, you can use a PERT chart and note down those optimistic time requirements or pessimistic time requirements, or most timely requirement, that is 15 for the specification. Got it? And to specify all those, the network contains a box to specify the activities and an arrow to specify the task dependencies between one another. So when a task is being executed, the task can be shown from the boxes shown, and the arrow mark specifies which box after which box to be executed. It represents the statistical variations in the project estimates and does not make a single estimation. And the single estimation may be an unspecified estimation. So you can go for making this pessimistic or likely or optimistic estimates. Optimistic estimate, the supposing time required for it, the job may be over before some time. So you can consider it as optimistic time requirements. The time requirement specified as likely, you can say as the more approximated value that is going to be used. The more approximated days, those are going to be required. The more approximated set of resources, those are going to be allocated. Likely, what it, and optimistic means how much before time the job can be completed. Optimistic estimates. But and if it fails to complete its job within the likely estimates, then what may be the pessimistic value? How much more time it can require? Got it? What will be the pessimistic value we can specify here? Let us see in the advantages and disadvantages of being PERT utilization. When we perform PERT, it accounts for uncertainty. If a particular estimate is uncertain, then it can be highly beneficial for identifying what may be the possible requirements, what may be the optimistic value requirement, what may be the pessimistic value requirement. So if it is known, then it is beneficial for us that if a particular job being executed requires some time variations or resource variations to occur, then those can be easily identified. Got it? And your disadvantages are time and labor intensive. For performing the evaluations and review of the activities, you may require more time to use and more effort or labor to use. So in this regard, it may be one disadvantage. Assumptions of unlimited resources is big issue. If you fail to use the likely set of resources, then you are making pessimistic set of resources to be assumed, and that assumption may require resources to be arranged prior starting the job. So here, this may lead to a complex situation that if a particular resource is being required for some other process at the same time, and that resource is being estimated or assumed to be used for a particular purpose, then the resource may not be released for being used. So in that regard, the resources may be unutilized and wasting its effort. Got it? And lack of functional ownership of estimates, it is also another drawback. A particular estimate is having certain operations to be exactly performed is not available here. Mostly only used on large complex projects. When your part is used, it may utilize for larger complex systems where failing of a resource requirement, failing of a time schedule requirement may cause certain drawbacks to occur. So at that time, we can compromise all other drawbacks for it. Otherwise, it will be beneficial for accounting whenever you have need of facing uncertainties. But you can perform the part evaluations by using certain part softwares. But the part software will help you to evaluate the most likely optimistic or pessimistic time or resource requirement for each subtask. Got it? And you can watch that using this diagram. The activity network contains the activities to be executed one after another. And each and every activity's time period requirement were also specified in the activity network. You can same watch the activities network shown in this part representation, that how your optimistic, likely or pessimistic time or resource requirements are there. Right? Suppose for specifications you have specified in the activity network that 15 days are required. You can go for an optimistic value, that is 12, or you can assume for a pessimistic value, that is 20. Similarly, for other tasks, for the designing database part, you can go for 45, 40 to 45 or 60 days. Similarly, for coding database part, 95, 105 or 120 days. 105 is the likely, that is specified in the activity network. 95 is the optimistic value. 120 is the pessimistic value. Similarly, you can watch for other activities. For integration testing, we have estimated 120 days. Integration of different codes may identify certain errors at some moments. And solution of the errors and representing a right solution at different possible ways may require more possible days to be used and more possible research to be engaged for it. So it may lead to 140 of an pessimistic value. So in that regard, you can identify the values here. And your user manual writing lasts from beginning to end. It means it may go for, it was estimated as the exactly 60 days it requires to perform the user manual writings, because user manual writings are different than testing informations. So it may complete its job within 60 days. And more optimistic value you can watch it is 50, or pessimistic value you can use for it is the 70. Got it? And these are the part evaluations performed. And the part evaluations are going you to provide more approximated values to be estimated or assumed for completing a particular job execution. Got it? So with this, you can watch the project scheduling is benefited in what manner, and how the project scheduling is important. If the project scheduling is unperformed, then what problem will face? The task will execute cannot be ordered properly, and the resource time estimates cannot be rightly identified. So in order to solve all these issues, you can go for preparing the project scheduling. The scheduling ultimately helps you to prepare the plan in a more efficient manner, so that from the process execution to process ending, you can perform a right set of activities. Those are planned only. These plan may also vary according to the executions performed. Got it? As we have previously identified that at a particular job's execution, if any risk found, if any mismatch found, if any defects found, we can modify all those. We have benefit to correct our errors, correct our defects, and suppress the failures, avoid the failures. Got it? And this is all about your project scheduling, and wait for the next subsequent topics of your unit 2.